Since 1895, York Wallcoverings has been manufacturing wallpapers from the same factory location in the west end of York on Linden Avenue. Carl Vizzi purchased York Wallcoverings in 1980, having previously held sales and marketing positions in the wallcovering industries, and at the time York Wallcovering had reached a low point in its long and proud history of manufacturing. Under Vizzi's leadership, over the next 36 years, York Wallcovering ascended to the position of prominence in the industry. Today, York Wallcovering is the oldest and largest wallcovering manufacturer and is widely regarded as a leader in color and design of residential and commercial wall coverings throughout the world. York Wallcovering can be found in more than 85 different countries, spanning the globe from Europe to Asia to the Middle East. In 2015, Carl Vizzi sold the company to a private equity firm, and he retired as CEO of York Wallcoverings in December of this past year, but remains on the board of directors. Vizzi serves on many industry boards, including 3 terms as president of the Wallcovering Manufacturing Association. In 1988, Vizzi was the youngest recipient to be chosen to receive the wallcovering industry's highest award, the prestigious Allman Award. In addition to being active in the wallcovering industry, Carl and his family have been extraordinarily involved in building our community, and the organizations they have touched is much too long for us to cover in our short time here today, but know that is very extensive. Carl and his wife Brenda, who joins us, Brenda, lives in York, and they have 3 lovely daughters. Our second speaker will be PJ Delaye, who is the president of York Wallcoverings since January of this year. PJ is a native of Paris, France, and has been residing in central Pennsylvania for the past 25 years. He started his American life as the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry, where he headed the Chamber's International Trade Desk and the Chamber's Advising Committee on International Issues. He next joined the Office of International Business Development in the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development and eventually became its director. He was recruited to York in 1997 as Director of International Sales and later held varying areas of marketing, product development positions for the company. In 2006, PJ created a new division in York called Roommates, and this new unit quickly grew into a significant portion of York's total business and now the leading global supplier of wall decals. Since January of 2017, PJ oversees the entirety of York Wallcoverings business as its president. PJ became a proud U.S. citizen in 2014, congratulations, has 4 children and resides with his wife Jennifer in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. Longtime owner Carl Vizzi will reflect on his tenure at the helm of the company, and new president PJ Delaye will tell us what the future is for the wallcovering industry and what's next at York Wallcovering. We're going to start with a very short video, and then fellow Rotarians and guests, we will welcome our guests, Carl Vizzi and PJ Delaye.
In 1895, the York Wallpaper Company first started making wallpaper from a small factory on Linden Avenue with just a handful of workers and a few printing presses. From those humble beginnings, no one could have envisioned the long, proud history that would follow. Today, York Wallcoverings is the oldest and largest wallcovering manufacturer in the United States, creating residential and commercial wall coverings that can be found in over 60 countries worldwide. With a variety of printing equipment that includes the latest state-of-the-art digital presses, York also continues to print with some of the original century-old presses. Presses that have become even more valued over time for their ability to print rich, artistic imagery that cannot be duplicated by modern presses. With over 15,000 current patterns and a constant demand for new ones, the company relies on its treasured archival library and highly regarded studio to create these designs in a diverse range of styles, from classic to country, modern to contemporary, in addition to producing innovative products like sand, glass beads, mica, glitter, and sculptured wallpapers. Innovation has also led the company to develop a peel and stick wall decal that targets a younger consumer. Partnering with popular brands like Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilms, Sesame Street, the NCAA, and a host of others, The company's roommates division creates a variety of character and decor-driven products that have helped propel it to the top of this exciting, fast-growing sales category. Since its first production run of wallpaper in 1895, York Wallcoverings has printed enough wallpaper to wrap around the globe several times. And while the roots of the company are steeped in the traditional designs of its past, its sights are clearly set on the future, creating modern designs that will continue to beautify homes around the world and take the company into its next 100 years.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Well done. Thanks for all. I want to thank all the Rotarians and the many friends we have here for allowing us to tell a little bit of the story about York Wallcoverings. But before I start, I want to acknowledge just two people. Pat O'Connell, who was our Vice President of Operations and previous Rotarian president in Buffalo, Barry?
Yeah.
Thanks, Pat.
Many moons ago.
And last but not least, the brains of the group, my wife Brenda. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened, how we got started at York Wallcoverings. As you heard, York Wallcoverings has been around since 1895. One of the very oldest, certainly one of the very oldest manufacturing firms in York. And how much time do we have? Like a couple hours to talk? So I won't go into a whole lot of detail, but York Wallcoverings was a significant manufacturer for many years. But around the middle 70s, the wall coverings industry, because it's a fashion-oriented industry, it cycles. It goes up and down, just like 5-inch heels and stiletto shoes and bell bottoms and everything else. So there's popular times in wall coverings, and then there's times when it's kind of out of favor. Well, in the middle 70s, it was out of favor with the onset of latex paint, and the paint roller was kind of invented then, and it brought wall coverings to a low ebb. And Brenda and I originally from Buffalo, and I worked for another wallpaper company there right out of college, and I was recruited by a small company, some of you may remember, in Hanover called Eisenhart Wallcoverings, and I worked there for about 5 years, and loved what I did, but I hated the people who I worked for. But tell the true story now, Mike. I told you I told the true story. So what happened was, Brenda and I were ready to move back to Buffalo. I was very unhappy, loved the industry, but we met. I heard that a fellow in York, who, if John Schmidt's here, he would remember, but Dick Brown does remember, when they worked at York Bank, a fellow by the name of John Kegler. John Kegler and his family owned York Wallcoverings for many years. And I was 30, I think I was 30 years old, and I called John Kegler, and I said, he was in his later 60s, and I said, are you interested in selling your company? Because I heard he was interested in selling his company. And he said, well, come on over and we'll talk about it. So I went over to meet him. He used to live on Somerset, right over here in Windham Hills. And I met him, and I said, John, I'd like to buy your company. He said, well, I've kind of heard of you. You work for our competitor. And I said, yes. He said, well, okay. I said, I have a problem. He said, well, what's that? And I said, I don't have any money. And I didn't have any money. Brenda and I had about $1,800 of a mortgage that we had paid, and that was about it. We owed the rest. We didn't have anything. So he said there was a problem, but he said we kind of hit it off together. I was like his long lost son. And he was like my father. We talked, and after about, it took about a year to pull this thing together, because of his brothers and sisters, a couple of which were part of the Gladfelder family. But because he was on the board of directors, and Dick Brown just reminded me that he was on the board of directors of York Bank, he talked the bank into lending me the money to pay him. Story, I don't know how that happens.
Who doesn't anymore?
But anyway, it truly is a story of, and for those of you who are ever considering about getting into your own business, entrepreneurship is the way to go as far as I'm concerned. It was very, very difficult in the early years of the company. Brenda and I used to go into the office on Saturday and open up the mail and just pray that there were checks in there from some of our customers, and sometimes there weren't checks in there. And then it was the other difficult part of those early days was York Wallcoverings had a union at the time. Since 1934, they had a union. Well, in the year that we bought the company, which was in 1980, I didn't know anything about unions at all. I was just a sales guy. But we had to lay off people for 29 weeks of the year. 29 weeks of the year. So you can imagine the kind of workforce we had. It was a difficult time dealing with the union. And if anybody asks me what one of my biggest accomplishments has ever been, it isn't so much about the success of York Wallcoverings. It was really about decertifying the union, which we did after 67 years of existence at the company. We finally showed our employees that you don't need a union, and if we had a union today, we probably wouldn't be in business. That's my only political statement, Mike. I won't make any promise. So what's happened is that the things that were important in the company were the single most important thing that in our company was, and my parents must have given me this skill because it's about picking the right people. It certainly isn't all about me or people. It's about, if you can pick the right people, you can be a star. If you pick the wrong people, no matter if they're your friends or your girlfriends or other employees, if you pick the wrong ones, life becomes difficult. You pick good people, life becomes, the goals are very achievable. Your goal, and that's the other thing. The thing that stops people from being real successful and being entrepreneurial is there's one thing that stops everybody, and it's fear. It's the fear of failure, and you just got to be able to overcome that fear. Well, in the early days when we first bought the company, we didn't have a lot to overcome because we didn't have a lot to lose back then. But if you can overcome the fear of failure, you can really accomplish a whole lot of things. So with that, we'll answer some questions later if there are any. Now, speaking of picking the right people, Pierre-Jean Delaye, we picked him 20 years ago to run a small part of the company, and now he's risen to take over my job, and he's probably going to do a lot better than I did at it. So, welcome, PJ.
Basically, Mike, thank you for emphasizing my French background, just in case people thought it was a Pennsylvania Dutch twang. Basically, that's what got me the job. Carl looked at me, said, "The kid talks funny." That was 20 years ago. He must be good selling something overseas, and that's how we started. And at the time, we had no business in China. I remember visiting. Actually, China was closed for business. That was before they reunified with Taiwan. And I remember going to China on my first trip, and there was a mud road, and there was a dog chained, to some pole that almost chewed my leg off. And I'm like, what am I doing here? And I remember vividly the gentleman at the time we were pursuing as a distributor who said, when China reopens, I'm not interested in manufacturing products in China and selling in the US. I'm interested in buying products from the US and reselling it to the 1% rich Chinese. And that's how we went from zero to today, our #1 export market for York Wallcoverings is actually China. So for once, it's going the other way, which is really interesting. Really, what makes the strength of the organization is how diversified we are. And this is why we're still standing. I was talking to Frank at lunch, and he said, well, you guys do a lot of business all over the world. And maybe you don't have a lot of business here in York, Pennsylvania, outside of your store. Well, actually, I come to think of it, we have products. We have York products at Walmart. We have York products at Target. at Home Depot on HomeDepot.com, Toys R Us, Bye Bye Baby, AC Moore, Joann's Fabrics. All of those stores are here in the area, and if you frequent those stores, you have York wall coverings products that are designed and manufactured for the most part here in York, Pennsylvania, throughout all those chain stores. Did I say Walmart also? I mean Walmart, which is one of our largest chain accounts. So we're extremely diversified. We have products all the way down from products that you can find at Walmart all the way to the D&D building in New York City, stuff that's really exclusive that you can only buy through a designer. We have the peel and stick wall decals. So I don't think there's a movie that's coming out this year for which we don't have the licensing rights. Spider-Man, we have all of Disney, we have all the Star Wars, which is kind of cool because sometimes they invite us so we can see a little bit of clips of movies. I won't tell you what's happening to Ken for the people who know Star Wars. Anyway, so we remain extremely bullish internationally, even though the marketplace is difficult right now because the dollar is extremely strong. So our prices have taken a 25 to 30% increase over maybe 2 years ago. But we continue to believe in the international marketplace. We continue to believe that we can, thanks to the talent of our studio and the talent of our manufacturing people, that we can make some great products here and sell it throughout the world. So we started this year. We've hired extra people in Europe, and we're actually calling directly onto some retailers right now, and we're making headways. They actually think that we have a very interesting design perspective. We offer something different. In Europe, all of those buyers, they've seen all of the products from all the European mills. They think that the York product is really different and cool and exciting, and so we're starting to make headways. As a matter of fact, today, I left the meeting. We had the buyer for the largest European chain of do-it-yourself stores, so the Home Depot of Europe, which is a group called Kingfisher. They're here, they're in York right now to talk to us about how we can service their stores. So that's I think, a testimony to the power that the York company, York Wallcovering company has overseas. We have a goal to open about 300 stores in China with a partner distributor. So China is difficult right now because the issue there, they buy your product and they love it so much that they love to copy it. And so, and not only do they copy the designs, but they copy also the trademark. They steal your trademarks. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, there was a gentleman who was about 20 years younger than Carl, and he had business cards with Carl Vizzi, and he was Carl Vizzi in China. It was amazing, Carl. You grew hair. So that's what they do, and it's difficult, to compete, when you don't really have a level playing field. But we're going to continue to diversify the business. We also have a new initiative right now, which is, so we view ourselves as more than just a wallpaper company. We also do contract wall coverings, so not just for the homes, but also for the hotels, hospitality, hospitals, healthcare, casinos, etc., etc. And this is a great division, which is actually led by Carl and Brenda's daughter, Ashley Vizzi. And I think she's had 5 years of just phenomenal growth. And right now, so we're looking at ourselves and say, okay, well, what else can we do? Well, we're York Wall Coverings. We play at, with the walls, and maybe we can start selling wall art. So we just started a wall art division. It was a bit of a more painful birth than we expected, but over the past 4 weeks, we've had buyers from huge groups, people from Home Goods, Burlington, coming here to York, Pennsylvania, sending their people here to York, Pennsylvania to make a selection, and they're writing orders. So it looks like we've got a lift off in that category, and hopefully, fairly soon, we will be a formidable wall art player as well. So the wall art is whatever you would buy at a Kirkland or a Pier 1, framed art, canvases, functional wall art with hooks, and we can achieve all of this because we have a great design studio here. This is amazing, the amount of creativity that this studio can generate. And so this is truly, as Carl mentioned, it's not about the brick and mortar. It's truly about the talent of the individuals that are working for the company. So I do suspect that, Carl, left the company in great shape with a fantastic reputation. You know, people from all over the world come to visit us. When they came to his office, it was kind of like visiting the Pope in Rome. So I'm going to have to, you know, it's going to be tough to maintain that legacy. But you know, Carl said all of the things that were important to him when he ran the business, and I think my job will be really to continue that foundation. There are some really, you know, I've worked for this individual for some 20 years, and there are some key fundamentals that he gave me through the 20 years, you know, about, you know, you need to care about the people. You know, it's not about the machines, it's not about the bricks in the building, it's all about the people. You know, all of those things, you know, this is definitely something that I want to make Carl proud of, and I want to continue his legacy, because I believe that it's actually the right way. That's what's taking us so far, and that's what's going to take us to the next century. Thank you.